Good morning, and thank you for coming to another. It's not morning. Oh, yes, it still is morning.
Yep.
I don't know what time I'm on. Good morning, and thank you for coming today to this online teaching and learning session. I'm Chris Daniel, for those of you that don't know me. With us presenting today's Jennifer Cook with Pearson, and she has a specialty in smart thinking, sort of general knowledge, specific technical support, trying to help us help our students. Thank you so much, Jennifer. One interesting thing about Jennifer is that she was in the heart of Philadelphia before the pandemic, and then personal situations arose, and now she is in Pennsylvania Dutch country, which I thought was a very interesting thing. And I always like hearing about people's travels and experiences in different places. So take it away, Jennifer, and I'll promote you here.
Sure. I wanted to start by asking if we could just see how you get into smart thinking in your LMS, because that's sort of the first stumbling block that most faculty or students or anybody kind of encounters if you're using an LMS. And the single sign-on way of getting into the LMS is the best way, but if you don't know where the link is, well, then you can't really progress too much further. So
for sure.
And it'd be great if you guys want to actually go into your LMS as Chris is doing and try clicking on the smart thinking link and just see what you're going to see after you do that. That would be great.
For sure. And sort of to preempt that, or the preamble to this, is that everyone should go to learn.eku.edu and use the first login button to log in. I'm saying that for folks that are brand new, maybe watching this recording. If you go to learn.eku.edu, click login, you may need to provide your credentials and your two-factor authentication mechanism, which is usually a code to a device, typically a cell phone. And then from there, you'll want to get into your course. And I'm not going to show those specific steps. I'm already in a course. And in most, if not all, of our eCampus courses should have the smart thinking tool link already available. And it may be that's called smart thinking free tutoring. I don't like to use the word free because it is a paid resource. It's not free to the world, but it is no additional cost to students. This may be labeled different things, but the term smart thinking should be in there somewhere. If you don't see that, then you would need to come up here to the add a menu item button that's represented by a small plus, and then go to tool link, and then find at the bottom of the list almost the smart thinking login tool, and then you would name that appropriately to your situation or your course. And so with that, that's how we in eCampus anyway access that. Now, if you need to turn that tool link on, that's another matter. Don't want to cover that because really this service in our institution is only for eCampus students. If you have questions about how to make that available, Jennifer would certainly be more than happy to talk with you about purchasing options. But that's essentially how we navigate here at EKU eCampus.
And could I ask you to click on the smart thinking link just to show them what it is like when it launches? Because sometimes we encounter pop-up blocker.
Cookies can interfere with this, and as well as pop-up blockers and sometimes other plugins. It may ask for a login here. I found that logging out completely and logging back in and doing the same step over tends to alleviate most of our problems.
And if you see a pop-up blocker, it'll be like in the upper right-hand corner of the URL box, and you're just going to click on it. It didn't happen here, so we're good. But if you don't wind up seeing the Welcome to Smart Thinking screen, there's probably a pop-up block happening, and you would just allow pop-ups, and then you have to refresh the page once, and then the screen will pop up. So great, thank you. Do you mind just keeping it on here, and I'll just navigate through everything?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess everybody else joining, hopefully you've clicked through like we have, and you're seeing these buttons, the most important one being refer my students to tutoring. So that's the upper left button in the 4. And this is our smart thinking faculty view. If you were a student, you'd be seeing different options there, like a different homepage. And we can look at that when we go into login as a student, that button, but we'll do that last. So if you hit refer my students to tutoring, this gives you the chance to either send a link to tutoring, live tutoring, or an essay center submission to your whole class, or to individual students, or a smaller group of students. So if you do the upload course roster option, that usually people take like the grade book from their LMS and export it to Excel for their class. And then you can just format it to match this, click here to download sample CSV template. It's a very simple format. It's just students' names and email addresses. And if you are consistent about the course name of their course, you'll have a nice list of course rosters that the system will remember. So you don't have to upload a new file each time you do it. But for our purposes here, we could do send individual referral, that one there, yep. And if anyone wants to volunteer and have a referral sent to them so you can see it and test it out, just awesome. Awesome. So for an example, again, if you're consistent about the course name, the system will remember the individual referrals too, and kind of create a class roster for you retroactively as you keep sending out individual referrals, or even a course roster referral, just keeping that same course name consistent. Great. And then term name, that's the same, like we usually just do like, yeah, spring 2022. And then for the service type, you have the option of picking, pre-scheduled, which would be the student would make an appointment, and that would be more if they want audio and video available in the session. The drop-in is on demand, so no appointment. We'll do that one for this, but the offline question is if they wouldn't have time to have a live session and they just want to start working on homework or something and kind of get the ball rolling. So they would submit an offline question, and then a tutor would pick it up in the queue and work on their response and send it within 24 hours. Paragraph writing would be the same in essay writing. So that's asynchronous, meaning it's not live. The student submits writing, and then the tutor picks it up in the queue and gets the feedback to the student within 24 hours. And we do have group sessions available. So up to 10 different participants can be in one live whiteboard tutoring session. So for this one, we can do drop-in. And then for your course, you select the subject that you'd like. It could be any of the, like if you scroll down, we've got the whole list there. So just to show you that you have a lot of different options. You've got the software languages and whatever, they need help in. And nursing is included in here as well. That nursing and allied health have specific hours in our system for live tutoring. They aren't 24/7, but everything else is. So that's one thing to note if you pick one of the nursing or allied health ones. So you can pick whatever, yep. And then in the assignment description area, that's your chance as the instructor or advisor to say to the students, this is, I'm sending you this referral for this type of tutoring, please seek help with thesis statements or, whatever it is you'd like them to specifically get help with in the subject. So that text does go straight into the email that they get. So in their inbox, they're going to see this text.
Let's be sensitive to people's feelings. Not like me.
So there we go. Awesome. And if you want to put your grading rubric in there, if it's within like the 2,000 character limit, you can just go ahead and paste that in there. And you could say like, students, please paste this into the whiteboard session that you have with the tutor and just say like, tutor, this is what we need help with.
Those were a couple of ideas that I think our instructors really need to understand, or a main idea that if the best way to use this, I think, is to think about your lesson planning and what's going to happen during the week, and maybe build in some writing help as part of the week's progression. So, if you have something due on Sunday, maybe start communicating the following Sunday, hey, I'd like for you to all have that writing help, in the can by Wednesday, Thursday, so that you can reflect on that and make the suggested changes and get that assignment submitted on time on Sunday.
Right.
So I'm going to hit send referral.
Great. So those of you that got the referral, you're going to see this in an email that has a link in it, and that link is a single use link. So it's good for 30 days, but once you click on it and use it, then it's done. So your students will get that, and hopefully they'll click on it. If they don't, we don't yet have a list available of those who did not use it. But if they do use it, you're going to be able to actually view the sessions that they had off of your referral link. So you see here, we have two, people now in this course roster listing here. And if you hit the pluses next to that, you can see like which email it was. And so if you want to send, as you start to accrue students in here, you can pick and choose which students you want, or just hit the main checkbox next to the course and it'll, send to everybody. So if you go back up to the top, I just want to see where, if you go to dashboard, that'll take us back to the main area. So that was all under refer my students to tutoring. So as you get, practice sending a referral or two, maybe to a colleague or whatever you want to do. But as students start to use your referrals, you can see underneath there, review my students' referred sessions and submissions. And so that's where this information will populate when students use your referrals, and you'll be able to actually open the session. Oh, great. Thanks, Carla. So this isn't totally exciting in here right now, just because there's nothing in here as of yet, but you'll be able to open it as an archive of what your students have done. And then if you go to alerts it's on the left here, but it's also one of the main 4 buttons as well. You'll be able to see the sessions through the lens of what learning alerts might have occurred in the session. Our tutors tag each session with any learning concerns that may have happened in the session. And so that could be, the student doesn't have the prerequisite knowledge to do the assignment. The student is having so many issues with grammar that it's almost, too much, like they need more remedial help before doing such an assignment. We have a lot of different alerts that cover a lot of different areas academically that they might be struggling with. So if your academic advisors, are interested in kind of getting a sense of what's going on with students in these sessions through any particular challenges they might have, we have an alert report that can be generated. So there on the admin dashboard side of things, which is a view that just like the Tutor Center folks can see of all the alerts happening at EKU. We can kind of take a look at everybody as a whole and work with academic advisors, but this is just for faculty who they send referrals to. They're only going to see their own students' alerts that they sent referrals to. They're not going to see like every student's learning alerts in Smart Thinking. So it's specific to your group. And then if you go back up to dashboard again, okay, so we covered like 3 of these buttons, but before we go over to the login as a student button, we can just look at the top area here. So in my session, that's going to show the archives like we were talking about before. But then next to it, study aids. The students see the study aids as well, and these are free resources for them to use that are within Smart Thinking. So you could assign some of this material as part of your assignments, you know, however you wanted to use them. When the students go in and click on these things, no minutes are used, no tutoring minutes are used. So it's just a free area for them. So there we have hot links to everything, so they can just kind of go through here and click on whatever they need help with. In the math area, we have videos, and you can actually post links to these videos outside of Smart Thinking. They don't just live in Smart Thinking. So if you expand any of these, there's 708 videos behind these plus signs here. So you can pick up the link at the top and just post it. So that's a resource that I don't know that everybody knows is there. So just, use those as you'd like to. It might be helpful for students to kind of work in there. I don't know. Faculty haven't told me exactly how they're using the study aids, but I know they're getting used. So take advantage of these. And then if you go back over to, I guess, content, So one over the support button over there, that's just if you're having any issues, students have that button as well. They can do a keyword search, and they can also make a phone call. If you scroll down, like you can have a chat or a phone call or submit a ticket with the technician if they're having any issues with their Smart Thinking account. So we have the 24/7 tech support as well. So that's the faculty view and the general overview. I don't know if you guys want to you can just ask questions as they come up. Any questions so far?
Carla had a really good prior question, and I think it sort of can be folded in to what's promotion. What's the best promotional strategy for this service? We feel like we've done a whole lot in terms of making those links available. There should be a syllabus, section discussing Smart Thinking, and we encourage faculty to tell students directly about that. Do you have any other tips for how to promote that service within the courses?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go, let's see, you go to the dashboard option at the top, and we can go into the student view. So if you hit login as a student, that'll take you through, or it should anyway. Oh, there we go. So this is what the students are seeing as a homepage. But if you go down to the bottom, you'll see our YouTube channel links. So I would start by showing them some of our YouTube channel postings, which are only about 2 minutes long. And they cover the really simple things like submitting their writing, in the essay center, what our tutoring is like, tutoring live in the whiteboard, and tips for navigating the system within Smart Thinking. So before they really dive in, maybe watching the YouTube videos would be kind of the best option for them to just get a sense. But I'm also going to send you a website that we created to just kind of give everyone on the faculty side somewhere to pull promotional resources from. So like email templates, posters, lists of subjects that we cover. So I just sent you that link in the chat. And if you want, you can open that up and I can go through bye, Brittany. What's in there, but it's just lists of subjects and things that we cover, a general overview plus detailed subject lists as well. Great, thank you. So under general resources, that will have like your email templates, the overview, the student quick start guide to just kind of get them up and running. You can click on that one. That's probably our most
used. It's just a one-page guide that shows the buttons, and it just kind of explains the buttons in general if they want to kind of an overview. And we also have digital ads for your LMS that your LMS admin can deploy at different parts of the semester just to remind students that tutoring is available. And we have the email templates as well. And the creative ways to integrate smart thinking into your course, that would address how you want to put smart thinking into your syllabus and kind of use it strategically there, like throughout the semester. So I would start under general resources and kind of take a look at that. And then also on the subjects area, the drop-down menu at the very bottom, that'll show you your subject-specific lists. So tutoring subject areas is our macro level overview of what we have. And then you can find your subject that you specifically work with and see like a topic list within it. So that's our general overview of subjects, which is pretty detailed too. So I would use this resource site to pull your promotional materials from. Hopefully that helps answer that one.
Carla had Carla's actual question I thought was really good is talk about the qualifications of your tutors, please, because I think there may be a concern with some faculty that they're getting a quality experience that won't derail what's going on instructionally in the classroom.
Sure. 90% of our tutors have master's degrees or higher in their subject. And they, on average, they have 12 years of tutoring experience. So they definitely have the qualifications to be advising your students on this, on the subject matter that they're working in. And we have about 1,200 of them, give or take, like as the season goes on. So that's how we have the 24/7 coverage in everything except for nursing, but we have actual working health professionals doing the tutoring for the nursing. So their hours are, I think they were like Thursday through Sunday, like 8 to midnight, something like that. But when in the student view, when you hover over those buttons, it shows you what the hours are. So your students will be aware of what they are. Does that help?
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also thinking about incorporating this service into your teaching practice is a good idea. For example, in math, I would certainly, I would have a very detailed worked example and possibly some other problems that lockstep into that worked example to make the most out of the tutoring session and to make sure that tutor is very clear on the instructional method you want to use. I know with the advent, and I don't know much about math, but we have somebody in the class that does, you know, there are different ways to show how to solve various math problems. And if you want to make sure that that student gets a certain example or how to work through a set of examples, you know, please give that and think about that as you refer them to tutoring. Sometimes you may need to do more than just paste in that box, but you know, that's a great way to communicate with these tutors, but also make sure the students know, hand them this before you go into tutoring. It'll make for a better session.
Right. Great. Okay, I think we can go back over to, let's go to the servicesmartthinking.com. Okay, yeah, there we go. So this is the student view, and we can actually add a custom message from EKU in the top box there. And that's just something if you know, the administrator, you know, whoever would be in charge of crafting a message for all students to see, then that person could send me that copy and I could have that inputted for you so that it would show up here. Under there, the text message alerts, students can opt in to receive those for when their feedback when the tutor's feedback is available or their paper has been returned with feedback. And then the archives area would be any session that they have access to take a look at it and study from it or review it. And then the YouTube videos at the bottom. Yeah, so if you go back up, it's interesting, there's a session going on. It says you have an ongoing tutoring session in research and documentation. So we could just, yeah, you can hit rejoin and see if that takes us back in there. This would be the live whiteboard. Yep, looks like it's going there. So this is where the live tutoring occurs. That's drop in, so on demand tutoring. You can hit start, that'll just, yeah. And there isn't a tutor in here with us, but if you typed in a question and hit submit question in the upper right, then the tutor would join. And you don't have to have a tutor join, because I just want to kind of keep them free for the,
Sure, of course,
the real like students or whatever. But that if students ever come to you and say, oh, a tutor didn't join the session, it's usually because they didn't hit submit question. So that's something to stress with them, that once they type in their question and get their materials together in here, they should hit that submit question button. But in here, they have the ability to share their screen. So if you see that blue rectangle with the arrow, that's the screen share button. And that works when you're connected to the tutor. And then the box to the left of it is our special math character button, and you can click on that. You can pick a math character and just drop it anywhere on the screen there. Yep. And then over there to the left is the screen capture button. Yep, and they can take a screen capture. And to the left of that is our Microsoft Office documents button, so they can upload any supporting documents that they have. To the left of that is a redo button, an undo button, and we've got like a little pointer if there's a graph going on and they want to highlight a specific part of it. And then all the way to the left, you can add pages to the whiteboard so you don't run out of space. And then you can toggle back and forth between the pages that you know where you are. And recently, well, maybe a year ago now, we added that chat box to the right so that you'll see plenty of sessions where the tutor and the student are interacting in the middle of the page, but we now have a space where you can chat back and forth to the right so you don't fill up the page with text, I guess. And then over on the left, you can see the options. You can schedule a future session, submit an offline question, or have a group session. And then some of the toolbar on the left, we have a drawing tool, the text box option, another arrow, you know, like something that arrow will lift content around so you can move it or delete it. We have some lines and shapes you can draw, and again, if you don't hit submit question, it'll prompt you to do that there. Within like 3 minutes of you coming back into the session, it'll prompt you. I guess if you hit the grid line, the graph paper there, yeah, that's a neat one. You just pick one of those, you can drag it, yeah. And the emoji one at the bottom, you'll see a lot of emojis in these sessions, just kind of showing the students understanding if a lot of green check marks too, that's in the emoji area. The tutor will generally put like green check marks as the student shows like mastery of the concept. So that's the live whiteboard area. In the drop-in, it's the same type of live whiteboard area and pre-scheduled. We just have the option of having audio and video in a pre-scheduled session area. So Are there any questions on the live whiteboard? Sounds good. All right, so if you go up to the upper right and hit end session, that should get us out of here. So if you hit exit session, yep, end live session and exit. And then we're fully closed out of that. If you do have a running session, you can't join another session. So that's a key thing to remember. So everything we did right there is under tutoring at the top. When we first started, we just had that, you know, session running and it said rejoin. So we just went in that way. But everything in terms of live tutoring is under that tutoring button at the top. And then you just pick your, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so if a student just wants to join Smart Thinking, a session on demand on their own, they would click tutoring and then choose the session type of their choice.
Right. And this, we're in drop-in, but they could hit schedule a future session and like mark it, reserve a spot on the scheduling grid.
And the on-demand does not have video, audio, chat. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. That's an important distinction.
But in schedule a future session, if they have a video session, that video does get archived. The video sessions are archived as well as the just regular whiteboard sessions. So if you, I want to show you, if you hit nursing and health sciences, that'll show you the availability there. Does it give you the schedule?
Yep.
Yeah.
It does.
This is schedule a session, so you have almost more options in here in terms of time of day.
There's good availability there. That's pretty good.
But if you go into drop-in, I just want you to, if you go to the left, it'll show you the hours for the drop-in for the nursing.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
And they're grayed out right now because it's not during hours, but it's Sunday to Friday, 8 to midnight. Okay. So they don't need to make an appointment, but you know, when it becomes 8 o'clock, those buttons will be blue and you'll be able to click on them and just have a on-demand session. So if you go to the top and to the left and hit writing help, that's the essay area. So most things will be submitted under Essay Center or Grammar and Documentation Review, but we have Spanish, we have the nursing essays and the health science essays area, paragraph submissions, so smaller pieces of writing like personal statements and things. And then the career area, so the resume or cover letter, business writing, so any type of writing you'd be doing on the job or in the internship, and then career writing covering job search preparation, like creating a LinkedIn profile, things like that. And if you wanted to have your essay reviewed by one of our nursing essay tutors or health sciences essay tutors, that would be a content review rather than like a grammar and documentation review, because they're the working health professionals there. So you would want them to be reviewing the actual content and not just like a proofread. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. So if you hit Essay Center there, it'll just give you, nursing essays is fine too, but this is our writing submission form. And so the student would just put in the title of the course or the level, working title for the piece of writing, and then a little description of what the assignment is. And then they would just choose the file of the writing, upload it, and then they can preview and submit it. So it's pretty simple in terms of a submission form. And then at the top, you'll see the My Sessions option is that archive I was talking about, where they can see everything that they've done. Yeah. And then in the scheduled sessions button as well shows them what they have coming up. So they make sure to join those. And then on the right of my sessions is the study aids area where they can see those same study aids that we saw in the faculty view. And then they have the same support button as well. So yeah, that's a kind of a general overview of the student view as well. I know it's a lot of different screens to go through. So you feel free to send me any questions. I can put my email in here in the chat.
Mary, thanks for your question. This is only for eCampus associated courses. So only eCampus folks will have access to Smart Thinking at this time.
Great. And that's really all I have in terms of going through this different screens and things. So I'm happy to answer questions if you email them to me, or I could do a call with you, or, you know, however. I definitely help people click through their first time in the system if they feel a little unsure of getting to where they need to go, or being able to tell their students where they need to go. But the student quick start guide from that resources site is pretty helpful. And then also the YouTube videos on our YouTube channel really help students to kind of get their lay of the land in there. So I thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I was a little late.
No, we had link weirdness, and I'll take the blame for that because
That's okay.
we had it last week, and I don't know why exactly.